This is a Full Circle Podcast Show production. Crime.
Let's get it together.
Education.
Let's get it together.
Marriage.
Let's get it together.
Politics.
Let's get it together. Full circle.
Poverty.
Let's get it together.
Race.
Let's get it together. Full circle.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Full Circle Podcast Show, episode number 58.
58?
58?
Oh my God.
58.
Can you imagine? I think we've probably been together longer than some marriages.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But we're going to get to that point where it's kind of like,
Don't do that.
where we don't even speak to each other. We just walk past each other.
That'll never happen.
And then you got your room and I got my room. We don't even have coffee together.
No, you know what though?
I'm sorry, that's my marriage. Oh, God.
Separate rooms probably would work because I don't know if you and I could stand to be around each other.
Absolutely,
24/7.
absolutely. But one thing we do have in common, we love to drink.
Yes, we do.
So,
Cheers.
Cheers. Somebody said cheers to me. I'll tell you this later.
Okay.
Speaking of cheers. But hey, I am Darrell McCullough, the same poet, and as always, I'm joined by the songstress, Carmen Miller.
Hello.
The fitness guru, Erica, is off, thank God. No, I'm sorry.
Hi, Erica.
I don't even know why that came out.
I'm not going to let him do that. I'm not.
And it came out so freely.
You're going to cut that out.
I apologize.
You're going to cut that out.
That's going to be my apology. I apologize. We have joining us in studio, Blair Johnson, a.k.a. Mr. Toledo 419. Blair, thank you for joining us. Please
Thank you for being here.
Tell us a couple things about yourself.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm Blair Johnson, also known as Mr. Toledo 419, lifelong Toledo resident. I love the city of Toledo. That's how I got the nickname. Looking to run for city council next year, actually.
Wow.
Hey, you got my vote.
So
I don't know yet.
So we'll see. I just want to make a change. I know Toledo can be one of the best places in the world. I consider it the greatest city in the world. People think I'm nuts for that, but hey, that's fine. I'll be that crazy. But I just believe in the city, and we got so much talent. One of the biggest things I want to see in the city is that we work together because we got so much competition in the city. But when we collaborate and work together, we can all be great together versus holding each other down. So
That's awesome.
Unity is my big thing. And,
Wow. Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome.
So let's get ready to have another fun and exciting show from the perspective of a liberal, conservative, and independent state of mind. Today's topic that we chose to discuss is, and you know what, I'm not sure how I feel about this title, but y'all go ahead.
I'm sure you had something to do with it.
Has Jesus become a liberal hippie? No, Lord, I did not. As always, we should have some interesting call-in guests to give their opinion on the topic. So we're going to get rolling. Before we begin, I want to thank everybody who's been shouting us out and listening in and sharing our episodes with their family and friends. Also, for liking our Facebook page and subscribing to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and our YouTube channel. We getting everywhere. We getting big out here.
Yep. We're getting there.
Awesome.
I gotta do the best for you.
Thank you. I like that we're growing. Also, don't forget to check out the Roundtable podcast, and we'll soon have a few other podcast shows to add to the Full Circle Podcast Network. So stay tuned. We want to thank Toledo's own Three Kings. This is an apparel company that supplies quality clothing with a connection to pop culture and current events. Please visit them at threekingsclothing.com or find them on Facebook at Three Kings Clothing and like their page. And if you want to be one of our sponsors like they are, you can contact us at fullcirclepodcastshow@gmail.com. So, with all the commercials done,
Yeah.
what's going on in the world?
Well, before we get into what's going on, I got one quick question.
What's that?
Why do we put tops back on things? Like I took a sip of water and I always put the top back on it. Why do we do that?
I didn't put the cork back in the wine.
Right.
But that's because wine needs to breathe.
So this water doesn't need to breathe.
No, and you don't
I need
want,
to suffocate it.
you don't want stuff like the stuff flying around in your water. You never know. I don't know. I think
All
that's
right.
why we do it.
Interesting. Okay. Well, let's talk about last podcast. Last podcast, the topic was why men don't post relationship pics.
That was interesting.
I had a ball. Wait a minute.
I did. No,
I'm sorry.
No,
Nope.
wait. We're not going there again. We're not about to start all of that again.
Carmen called this episode the balls
No,
episode.
I did not. I said it was brought to you by them, and we're not going to do that.
Well,
we're going to talk about Jesus later. I'm not talking about your balls. I'm not going to do that.
It was a great episode. I listened to this episode several times, which I do with most of them, but I enjoyed that episode.
It was funny. It was hilarious. I thank everybody for sharing it and that. If you missed it, go back and listen to it, and I'm just going to apologize in advance.
Wow. Also, when you mentioned 58, we are approaching our 60th episode soon. And, excuse me, I'm just going to make a brief announcement.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to celebrate our 60th episode by reducing the time of our show.
Woo, Lord, thank you. Oh, I'm sorry.
Well,
Okay,
we're going from an hour and a half.
Was I supposed to celebrate there?
Well,
I didn't know if I was.
We're going to go to an hour. This is something that I've been wanting to do for a long time, and you
Wait a minute,
have brought it to my attention
Okay.
several times.
Okay.
And when the last time you said it, I said, you know what? Why not make it happen? 60th, it's coming. Perfect.
It will be a 60-minute show, hopefully. Allegedly.
Carmen and I have gone all the way up to probably 2.5.
I know.
On certain shows, certain topics.
It's going to depend on how hot the conversation gets.
Right.
It really is.
And we think about it like, why are we doing this? It's not about us and our time. It's about the time of our audience. When you think about the commute to work, most podcast listeners listen during their commute, and the
Right.
commute is maybe a half hour. So if we have an hour and a half show, we want the download, but we also want people to listen to the entire show.
Absolutely.
And we think it's more feasible with that 60-minute mark. A lot of podcasters, they do a 3-hour show and they're all happy and they're getting the downloads, but they would be surprised people aren't listening to their show.
We don't want y'all to get tired of us.
Right. Right.
We don't want y'all to get tired of us.
So I don't think that it's going to lose anything. I think it's going to gain things. I'm looking forward to this. So
Plus, I'll be able to actually do stuff with my life other than sit in the. Never mind.
wow.
I'm just
Yep.
saying. I'm playing.
So I'm looking forward to that.
I think that people will be shocked to find that we can jam pack a whole lot into a smaller space of time.
Right. And again, we're not doing this for us. We're doing it for you because we do think we have a really interesting show, and we want you to stick all the way to the end. Cool. Now, before we get into politics, let's get into another segment of the show, and it's called Carmen Miller's Clean Slate. Carmen, what words of encouragement do you have today?
Well, this week I've been kind of going through some like motivational stuff that has to do with wisdom, and when I'm thinking of wisdom, this is what I came up with. Wisdom is learning to pick your battles wisely. Not everything has to be nuclear. Some relationships are more important than our need to be right. And some of those F's you don't give cannot be gotten back. So when the dust settles on your disagreements, some bridges that have been burned will remain forever uncrossable. You have to decide whether your rightness in the moment is worth the righteousness of a relationship altogether. Clean slate.
On that, let me just go over here. You know what I love about being older?
What's that?
You care less.
Yeah,
With your friendships, like when you're in high school, it's all about being popular. The older you get, you can kind of count your friends on one hand. Is that true?
I hear you, but I need for it to sink in and really just kind of marinate with you. Are the people more important than what it is that you disagree about?
Well, see, I must be liked by everyone.
Really?
Who does not want to be liked?
It's not and here's the thing. It's not about necessarily being liked. It's about a love that's deeper and can last or be stronger than disagreeing. You know? You pick your battles. You know, and as you get older, you learn which ones are worth fighting and which ones ain't.
Valid.
You know?
Valid point.
Because like, you know, some people get butthurt over the silliest things. And it ends friendships that last forever, that you thought would last forever. Mm. And some people, you call their mama a name, they stick around. You know, you just never know. But you have to, the wisdom will teach you who is a forever person that you don't want to lose and who is a temporary person in your life.
Wow.
So.
Awesome. Love it. I love it. Now, picking battles. Going off that,
Oh Lord,
getting into the politics. I mean, I don't have a battle.
Well, here's the thing. Here's where we are with politics, and I hate that. I feel as if we cannot go a single news cycle without some level of scandal in this administration. And it's sad, but at the same time, you know, we can't become battle fatigued when it comes to the things that are happening on all different fronts. And here's what I don't want to do. I don't want to give any more time to the trivial. So we're not gonna have the Stormy Daniels conversation because that right now.
Yeah, we've never brought that up on this show.
That's immaterial to what really matters right now.
I agree.
Okay, so the investigation, the Mueller investigation, is ongoing. Andrew McCabe was let go from the FBI days shy of his retirement, and that caused an uproar because apparently he has memos that are going to be used in the investigation, and the consensus is that it was a move to discredit the memos. And you welcome to jump in here anytime you want. The thing about what we're seeing a constitutional crisis in slow motion right now, because right now the Congress is out of session right now. And so whatever is happening in sort of a vacuum. So, for example, should Mueller be fired? We don't have a legislature in session that can act accordingly, you know. And it's a precarious place to be. But at the same time, that's another thing that's happening. One thing I do want to bring to our attention that's going on right now, it's not necessarily political, but I do believe that it is a terrorist action. There have been, the one thing I want to really point out is that there have been 4 bomb attacks in Austin, Texas.
I heard about that. What's up with that, Carmen? What is it?
Prominent African Americans in Austin are being targeted. They do not have a suspect as of yet. The FBI is involved. The state police are involved, and also local PD. But understand this. This is a terrorist act. This is a terrorist act. There have been tripwires in the streets. This is not just like your average, you know, Unabomber mailing you a package. They had tripwires, military-grade tripwires.
But we all know it won't be deemed as a terrorist attack because of the targets.
It hasn't even been acknowledged by the White House. To date, it hasn't been acknowledged by the White House. This has happened since Friday. Okay. And it has not been acknowledged by the White House. It's a scary place to be. Okay. When you're talking about the level of news that is even given to the Stormy Daniels story, as opposed to there have been Americans that have been killed on American soil through an act of terror. Mm-hmm. And I want to make that clear, because if no one else reports this, if no one else mentions this, if this doesn't become a battle cry for the people of Austin to come together and make their hold their politicians as well as their law enforcement accountable to what it is that they need and to what it is to address this as a terrorist action, then we are in dire straits.
Wow. And I was on Fox News today. I did not see anything like that. I actually saw a little bit of that on Facebook.
It's right now, it's a scary time because here's the thing, when you can be a prominent person when you can be a prominent African American in a major city, and your death does not garner national attention. The death of 4 doesn't garner national attention in bombings. I mean, that's tantamount to think of 50 years ago. Think of the church bombing in Alabama.
Right.
Okay? It happened. Imagine that happening 4 times and nobody saying a word.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Right.
That is, it's dangerous. We're in a dangerous time, and I just really outside of politics, I don't care whether you're conservative, I don't care whether you are liberal. If you're American, this should scare you.
It's kind of like a revolving door because it's just coming back just in a different way. Same thing. If they can't stop you from talking, they're going to shut you up.
Wow. I did see something concerning the White House when they said that President Trump wants the death penalty for
That's insane.
for drug dealers.
That's absolutely insane. It's it's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life.
This is what I heard. He said that he's spoken to a lot of leaders.
I feel like he's watched.
And he said, "What's your drug problem like?" And they say, "We don't have a drug problem," because they have zero tolerance.
No, that's not true. That's absolutely not true. That's absolutely untrue. What he's talked to is a bunch of dictators who have basically committed genocide on their populations, okay? He's not talking to world leaders of democratic republics. He's not talking to world leaders of our allies.
But you do know that we're a little forgiving over here.
Can I tell you something, though? Ask about Canada's drug problem. Ask about Canada's drug problem.
I'm talking about China.
Canada doesn't have the same kind of drug problem we have. They don't have an opiate epidemic. Do you know why? Because they're not owned by big pharma. Because they have universal health care. Hello? So I mean, you can't have it both ways. You can't pay your big pharma buddies and then turn around and say we have an opiate epidemic that we want to fight. He's got a guy who doesn't even have a medical degree over the opiate epidemic fight. Are you kidding me? Excuse me. No, he doesn't. He has Kellyanne Conway.
All I know is every time I look in the paper,
looks like
I'm seeing
she's
people
tweaking every time she's on television.
Wow, I see people.
Yeah, I said it.
Dying of overdosing on this heroin like every
Let me tell
single
you
day,
something, though.
especially in Toledo.
Can I just tell you something though? Here's the other thing about that. When it comes to blue collar and the Rust Belt itself, what you have is water crisis. Okay, you have the runoff of a lot of manufacturing gunk, okay? And you have people who have worked in factories and in coal mines and all these type of industries for years. And they have health problems. And what happens when they go to the doctor? They get overprescribed, okay? And so you take those over the counter, or you take those prescriptions and you take those away. What stops their pain?
Nothing. And you see the root of everything you just said is the companies are making these people sick, but they're making profit, so they don't care.
Of course.
The doctors are making profit off of all these hospital visits. The pharmacies are making profit by all these people buying
the biggest industry in Toledo, Ohio is hospitals. Mm-hmm. It is hospitals.
And we just said that before the show started.
Yeah, we got 3 big players.
Yeah, it's the biggest industry. I mean, so you take away the auto industry and you bring in the hospital industry. And what does the hospital industry need in order to run? Sick people. Mm-hmm. Okay? So then you've got, the EPA who's stripping away clean air and clean water. They're stripping away all of the protections for the things that, even the workplace protections that we had. And now you've got an environment that creates sickness. Mm-hmm.
Just like our water here, the EPA won't. It's coming directly from the farms, but the EPA won't stop it.
Of course they won't. Of course they won't. Why would they? Because they get money based on the level of pollution. I mean, come on.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Good
I mean,
points.
it's a revolving door.
Good points. Good points. You got anything else you want to get into entertainment?
We can get into entertainment, which is brought to you by TheGrape Records. Hey! The label produced and owned by Eric Sills of Stone Soup Recording Studios right here in Maumee, Ohio. So if any of you singers and musicians are looking to record in a world-class studio, please visit www.stonesouprec.com or check him out on Facebook at the Stone Soup Recording Studios and like the page.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hi, Eric.
I see that the New York rapper Diddy, who's the New York rapper who was on Diddy's label, the Bad Boy label, Craig
Don't
Mack
do that.
died.
Don't do that.
What?
Don't disrespect Craig Mack like that.
He was on his
He was on Bad Boy.
right.
Yes, he was.
And he died.
Actually, he was Bad Boy's flagship rapper. That was the first hit on Bad Boy Records.
Now I don't listen to a lot of rapage. But he had the hit song.
I'm not gonna let you do that right there.
Oh.
You said rapage. Is that what you said?
I mean,
Yeah, we're not gonna do that. Hip hop is what it is.
He had the hit song "Flavor in Your Ear." I do remember
Not
that.
flavor.
And
Flavor.
the flavor
Flavor in your ear.
and ya ear.
Don't. Oh my God.
Interesting.
Stop it right now. Stephen Hawking died.
Yeah, I saw
That
that.
happened too.
I saw
I'm
that.
gonna need you to stop talking about hip hop.
Okay,
Bruh.
I mean, I'm getting into
For real.
okay. Of course, we already know here Black Panther has, just keeps breaking records.
Over $1 billion.
Yep.
It broke $1 billion. That was awesome. That it did
I
that.
told you I saw it twice already, right? I told you
I'm
that.
glad. I'm proud of you. I'll tell you what I did.
I only went because somebody said, Darryl, I think you're wrong about your 8.4.
It is. You
So
were right.
I went again, and it's 8.5. It's a good movie.
Oh my God. I'm not.
Thank you.
Are you like chiming in to? Okay, you've got to put this in, Eric. You got to put. Eric is chiming in. He's saying that the bald chick with the knife. This is a direct quote. The bald chick with the knife kicked the ass.
You know what though? It's girl power is what's happening now.
Yes,
we all know
it was
that.
awesome.
But it was cool in Black Panther. The
yes.
woman with his daughter, his sister was the
Yes.
head of the tech thing.
Yes.
The Abalagala Pita. What's her name?
Lupita Nyong'o.
She was doing a lot. I mean,
you did not. Could you not butcher these ones?
no, I don't know what.
Stop it.
Okay, but it was good. But I'm gonna go over here.
Have you? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go on.
Have you seen A Wrinkle in Time?
No, and neither has anyone else.
No, I went to see it. It was
I heard
awesome.
it was bad.
No, it's
Carmen.
not.
Oh
no,
my
I'm gonna tell you
God.
what.
It's the worst movie.
Shut
IMDb
up,
gave it a
because
3.4.
I don't give any hills about IMDb.
Don't you say nothing about IMDb.
IMDb can kick rocks, and I'm gonna tell you why.
But it's Oprah. Oprah can't.
It's
do
not
anything
even.
bad.
It's not even about Oprah, and I'm gonna tell you why. I read this book when I was 7 years old. Okay. I'm a 7-year-old little girl reading this book. I got swept up. A Wrinkle in Time, A Swiftly Tilting Planet, all the books, okay? So then I go to the theater, and I dragged my husband to the theater to see this.
I don't believe that. I believe he went willingly.
No, he didn't. He thought it was gonna be. He thought it was gonna be total crap. It was a Tuesday. It was a $5 movie, and we had the AT&T, buy one get one free. So we paid $7 for a movie. Go on Tuesday night in Toledo. Get your AT&T phone and then, hook it up. Anyway, $7.25 for a whole day. We went, and I guarantee you, within 30 minutes, I am 7 years old again, and I am like literally bawling at this movie.
Carmen,
it was so good.
Carmen,
No, it's the
I'm crazy
relationship.
about you.
No,
I'm crazy about you.
listen, you have a daughter. You have a daughter. Take your daughter, and I guarantee you, you will melt. Your heart will melt. That girl is amazing. She really is. And every father and daughter should see this movie.
Okay. All right.
That was back when I liked my daddy.
I will suggest things. I will suggest certain things for you, and you check it out.
I'm corny like that,
Even
okay?
though
I'm corny.
hearing very bad things about
No,
this movie.
you're okay.
I'll go.
I will admit I'm a total cornball when it comes to books that I've read as a child. I am. So I'm a Lord of the Rings head, totally. That's my thing. Paula Patton is not in, but the mother looks like her. She's very pretty.
Well, all right.
You know what? I'm going to find her name for you.
Now, I got something else. I had mentioned to you, I said, Carmen, concerning the show Blackish, don't you think that it's getting a little too black?
Oh, Lord, here we
And
go.
you poo-pooed it. That's another thing that you
poo-poo
did. Okay?
I poo-pooed you.
I
did.
saw on the internet, this was not on Fox News, so I don't know if it's true, that
Ooh,
Blackish
child.
is getting too black, and they pulled an episode or something like that.
They did pull an episode, and it was regarding the kneeling of NFL players.
Mm-hmm.
They did pull that episode. But what's funny is it was written by the white writers.
Because these white people, they're like, oh, this will be hip, this will be cool, and it went too far.
Let me tell you something. I hope.
Well,
Thank you, Eric. Thank you.
Cutting the profits.
We're gonna have to get you in the room for the white perspective. We really are.
I think I know a lot of white people. I have a lot of white friends.
I know white people.
And I
That's
think
a
that
whole
I
other.
can.
That's a whole other show.
Well, I think that I can speak for them.
No, white people, speak for yourselves. Please speak for yourselves. I'm so serious. Hey,
But I love that show. I do like Blackish. And tell you the truth, I even watched the other one, Grownish.
oh yeah, she's getting there. She's good.
The way that they film, the way that they shoot those, it's a lot of colors, a lot of hues. I enjoy it. A show that I wish they did not cancel.
What's that?
And because this lady, I recognized her talent then, I was like, okay, she's funny. And that's that Haddish lady. She was on the...
Tiffany Haddish.
She was on the show, Carmichael.
Yeah, the Carmichael
I mean,
show.
that was a funny show.
She's
It
hilarious.
it's very
This is her-
drab. It's very drab, the way that they shoot it.
Yeah, but this is her moment, and I think that
She's got
it
a new
was
show coming too.
it was very cool that they recognized that talent in her, and that her breakout was the movie last year, Girls Trip.
I didn't
And
see that, and I won't see that.
You know what? I'm gonna thump you today.
You're
We're getting there. Girls Trip that was very in girl power. It was a sisterhood type of thing.
I don't like.
you know?
Isn't Jada Pinkett? I don't like anything that Jada Pinkett.
Can I
is
tell
in,
you what, though?
Other than Menace to Society.
Can I tell you what? I feel like Jada Pinkett has been playing the same character for 30 years. But she plays the same. She has the same acting notes. Her acting takes the same notes on every character. I don't care what it is.
She don't really got to try anymore. Look who she married to.
I mean, for real.
Yeah, but now,
Like,
but she's got to try again because
No.
he ain't even. He's kind of
well, no,
But he doing a
because
lot of
that's.
behind the
slipping.
scenes.
I mean,
Well,
did
no.
you see Bright? It wasn't that bright.
I liked Bright.
Oh, you know what? You.
I told you I'm corny.
Oh my
I like
goodness,
it.
Carmen, your heart.
Stop it! It's
But that
not.
was just the start. It's supposed to be a series, so
It's not. It's good. It
It
really
was
is.
okay.
There's a message there. It really is.
And speaking of okay, has anybody seen Jessica Jones on Netflix?
No,
I haven't watched the second season.
no,
Don't.
we're not doing that here.
What a snooze fest.
What?
Here's the thing.
Wasn't
Here's
that
the
your
thing.
girl?
No.
Wasn't that your girl? That was
I'm
your
gonna
girl.
go here.
That was your girl.
Out of all the Marvel Netflix series, Daredevil,
Jessica Jones was his girl last year.
Punisher,
I want y'all to go back.
Luke Cage,
Hey,
Jessica Jones, Iron Fist.
audience,
And you put Defenders
Go
at
back.
the very Defenders under the shoe.
No, Defenders. I like Defenders.
go back last year. Go back last year to our episode somewhere in the 20s or the 30s, okay? Go back last year and see what he said about Jessica Jones. He
I
was
like
all
Jessica
on
Jones,
Jessica Jones.
but-
Jessica Jones.
But
Jessica
the show
Jones
was a
that.
little too helter skelter for me. But I did. The first series was good. This one's not. And I'm surprised that they didn't get on the girl power boat and
No?
make this show good. It's just boring to me. I'm struggling. So I stopped watching 7 Seconds. I said, let me watch Jessica Jones.
Can I tell you what I finished watching this recent season of Peaky Blinders?
What?
I know. Peaky Blinders is the best fucking show. I'm sorry. I did an F-bomb. It is amazing. It's a British gangster drama. It's a turn of the century British gangster drama, and it's about this family. Oh my God.
Any black people in it?
Yeah.
Is it an interracial thing?
No.
All right, I'll watch it.
You gotta watch it. It's hilarious. It's good. It is freaking. I'm trying to tell you this right here. This show, Peaky Blinders. You will thank me.
Peaky Blinders.
Watch that.
Okay, I know what I want to watch.
Cillian Murphy.
I'm going to watch this. I think
And Tom Hardy.
tomorrow, day after. Roxanne.
Oh yeah.
Nia Long is in it. It's
Yeah.
the story of the real Roxanne.
Yeah.
I want to see that.
I think I do too.
I'm gonna tell you what I did see and I enjoyed.
What's that?
I, Tanya. You know what I'm talking about?
Tanya Harding.
Listen to
Boy,
me,
bye.
Carmen.
And you talking about I'm corny?
Carmen.
Boy, bye.
Carmen.
Boy, bye. You know what it
That
is?
was a good.
It was not.
Movie.
You know what it is? You like white women, and that's okay.
You know what? I told you that, and I
You
told you
do.
that in confidence.
It's okay. It's okay. Now we gonna move on.
It's a
'cause,
good story.
I can already see.
They
where
got all
this is
kind of
going.
awards and everything.
Nah, bruh. I can already see where this is going.
Okay.
You know what, Nancy Kerrigan, girl. You know what?
All
Hey,
right.
Stay strong, boo.
You know what? She says that, and then 2 weeks later, she'll be like, "Oh, Darryl, I saw so and so. You
no,
were
I'm not
right."
gonna say that.
She
No,
won't say. She
no.
won't say it like that.
I'm not gonna watch that.
But she'll look at me, and I'll know that's what she was
That'll
saying.
never be a thing. So
Okay.
back to what we were on. Apparently, there's some sort of erroneous or fake holiday that you're gonna promote at this point,
I'm telling you, this is
dude.
this is interesting. It's a long one,
Yeah, huh?
but today's national holiday is
Yeah, huh?
stop saying "I love you" to the same person more than 3 times in one day.
Stop.
I support this holiday.
That's because you're a cold-hearted bastard.
No, I'm saying, listen, how many times do you have to
No.
say "I love you" to somebody?
If you love them, you should say it all the time.
Carmen,
I love you guys.
if it's one thing,
I do.
if it's one thing that you know about me is I love my children.
I know you do.
In the morning, I kiss them goodbye, love you. When they go to bed, love you. And when I talk to them on the phone, love you.
That's 3.
That's it. When it's 4 times,
That's not.
Okay,
no,
here's the
it's
thing.
not bad. It's good. It's good. People want to hear and feel loved. They want to hear that they're loved, and they
okay.
want to feel
But
that
what
they're
if the
loved.
time you don't say it and you don't see him again?
oh man,
Right,
see, that's
right.
that's why
That's
this
what I'm
world
saying.
is so messed up because of the what if.
I'm just saying, but
What if doesn't mess
why
up the
not
world?
say it
It doesn't.
Because here's the thing.
if you mean it, unless you don't mean it?
He doesn't mean it.
I'm gonna go over here, bruh. Can I
No,
call you
you're
bruh?
so hard.
Or would you prefer bro? Or if
No one
every time I
prefers-
see you, every time I see you, I give you $1. Pretty soon as I'm walking up, your hand gonna be out. Am I correct? So what you're doing is you're taking my dollar
Are
for
you
granted.
That's not the-
Pavloving
that's not
love?
the- that's
Are
not
you
the same
Pavlov's
thing.
dogging
It's
love?
not-
that's
Are
not-
you Pavloving love?
Do not
That's
take my
crazy.
love for granted. When I tell my wife I love her, her eyes get huge.
That's because
Huge.
Karen.
Because you probably made her feel good. She
Karen,
appreciates it.
Karen, blink 3 times if you in trouble, girl. Just blink 3 times.
One
I
time,
got you.
the first
I'll
time
come
I
to the
told her
house.
that I love her, she started crying. And she said, "What did you
Put a
do?
Facebook Live.
What did you do?"
Yeah, girl, put a Facebook Live on if you in trouble. Okay.
Man.
Blink 3 times. I'm gonna know exactly what it
And
means.
you know what? If that ever happens, you're going to hear me in the background like OJ. Remember that when he was talking?
Don't you do that?
I was like, what did he say?
Did you watch that?
I didn't see it.
Oh my God, OJ whole thing admitted to murder, bro, on
What?
TV.
I
He
couldn't-
did. OJ did it. I'm sorry.
Oh, I already know that. Anybody
No, but
been in love
I'm just
and
saying.
been taken for granted.
OJ did it. He hold on.
He
Look,
said,
okay, no,
see,
no, no.
he know.
I mean, he can't get tried again, so you might.
Look, he was on TV and the lady asked him a question. I know that I'm digressing, but you got to hear this. He's on TV and he's describing the quote unquote hypothetical incident, okay? And she goes, "So how did you feel at the time?" And he goes on to tell how he felt at the time. How do you hypothetically feel? Help me with that. OJ,
Wow.
help me out, bro. You killed that lady. I'm sorry. It's not funny, but you whole thing got away with murder.
Wow.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I knew that was coming on and I wanted to watch that. And I don't know what happened.
What's bad is, it's on demand. You can watch it on demand.
All right.
I watch it, but you can't fast forward. That means you'll have to listen to him talk. And OJ talking is like watching paint dry. I swear to God.
You know what's interesting though?
What's that?
He will always be in a relationship. There's
With
always
who?
some woman that he's always got some woman next to him, and she's of a lighter hue.
You
But-
know what?
You know, I mean, and that's insane to me.
Yeah. Okay.
But hey, whatever.
Well, some people like that rush of fear.
What?
You never know what's gonna happen.
You ever
Then
been? You ever
there's
been with a? I know you're going to get into politics, but you're not in it right now. But have you ever been in a relationship that was crazy?
That's the only kind Darryl knows how to be in.
Oh, I mean,
I'm just saying.
the crazy ones. I mean, they. You know,
Shut up! Don't say it.
I think every relationship got a level of crazy.
Because he's
and you
gonna.
just have to be able to deal with it. Then, huh?
It's just what we define as crazy. I think is more so what it would be.
I'm the only sane one in here.
I don't think that's a thing.
Hence the sane poet.
Wait a minute. Are you trying to?
No, I'm talking about in a relationship. I'm the
Yeah,
one
we're
who's
not
sane.
in a relationship.
I'm talking about. I'm the same poet. Everything I do is sane. People
I don't
think I'm
believe-
insane.
I don't believe that.
Well, okay. Well, I got a little crazy.
Anyway.
Speaking of crazy, you want to do this?
Okay, so here we go. We get into our topic today, which is, and okay, you know what? Y'all don't tell my pastor what's going on this show. I just need for all of the saints to yet pray for all of us.
No, I think that this is going to be. You know how we do.
I know. It says, has Jesus become a liberal hippie? Darryl, what are your thoughts?
My thought is that, first off, this generation is labeled millennials, and you know I appreciate them because of technology and they're so innovative, things like that. But there's something that I thought was in the Bible, but it's not in the Bible. It's just a phrase.
What did you think was in the Bible?
We spoke on this on a show.
What did you
Episode
think?
19,
Yeah,
television making us wiser or weaker. The phrase is, you know, let me see what I had it here.
What's that?
It's that with every generation, they will become weaker but wiser.
I think that's a song lyric.
Now, here's the thing. With all the technology and everything, this is awesome. This is awesome. But are we becoming more intelligent as a people?
What are you saying? What does that imply?
Meaning
does it
that-
imply? No. Let me ask the question. Does it imply that a level of faith means that you lack intelligence?
The internet was created. I love the internet.
Yeah.
Technology. I love my smart TV. But it has killed the black atheist.
Why do you say that?
I'm sorry. It has killed religion.
Why do you say that?
And the black atheist, which is something that was unheard of, all of a sudden that's a big thing now.
it's not a big thing. I'm not seeing what you're seeing.
I'm saying that, long story short, technology has killed religion. Nobody believes in God anymore.
I don't think that that's the case. I think that people don't worship the way that they used to. I think that people's level of spirituality is different than their expressions of spirituality is different than the way it used to be. I think it's killed tradition. I don't think it's killed faith or religion itself. And I'll say that because when you look at the kinds of things that are searched, when you look at the kinds of things that, you know, are shared, there are people who share stuff about ancient religions, people who are sharing stuff about, you know, the connections between Christianity and ancient religions. There are people who are sharing things about the Quran, people who are sharing things about the Hebrew faith or Buddhism or Hinduism. I don't think it's killed religion. In terms of what it is that we look at as the church per se, the church has a stigma in these days because of its own hypocrisy. And here's the thing.
But
years
just
past-
because my father's an alcoholic doesn't mean that I can't respect him as a father. He made a mistake. Does that make sense?
I get that, but here's where tradition in the church misses the mark. Tradition in the church misses the mark in that they try to gloss over people's faults or pretend that they no longer exist the moment they walk in the church doors. Okay. And then when you find out that people in church are just as flawed and human as anybody else, it creates a breakdown in people's faith in other people. People have manifested their faith in other people to represent Christ. Okay. And that's not the same. Okay. Christ is not who's failing, folks. It's the people who are failing, folks, because they are not honest about their flaws. Okay. And that's a product of the old historical traditional, washed in the blood and you white as snow and you're not necessarily sinning no more, this, that, and the third. Then you've got preachers who are falling. Toledo's a prime example. You've got preachers who have been indicted on sex charges. You've got preachers who have been, indicted on assault charges and things like that. And it creates a level of disbelief in people. Okay? But that's not to say that, and that's not to say that they don't believe in God. It's that their faith in people have been shaken.
What did I say to Erica during our text argument? That because of the flaws of religion, it makes people justify their wrongdoings.
You know what? I think that, and I'm gonna go hip hop on you. Years ago, De La Soul had a lyric that said somebody was looking for God but found religion instead. Okay, the problem that I see is that people's focus, their faith focus, is on religious leaders as opposed to the word or scripturally living themselves. And I think that's where the breakdown comes in, And when we're talking about this right here, has Jesus become a liberal hippie? I see a lot of what's happened. My thought on this is, you see people who are justifying lifestyles and behaviors that the Bible speaks against.
Right.
And they use the forgiveness of Christ as a get out of jail free card.
Because how will they know? Until that day comes or whatever, Now, I said this earlier. Why I believe that Jesus is a liberal hippie, because of the things that are going on where nothing nowadays.
Can I be real with you? I wouldn't be mad at him if he was. That would be kind of awesome.
Well, it's like nothing's off limits.
Jesus with like weed and
yeah, because, and I even said that. You got prostitution that's legal in some states.
Well, he did minister to prostitutes.
Well, and you got marijuana, you got gay marriage.
Marijuana is from the earth.
You have different things, and I told you, Carmen, I grew up in a religion that when these signs were brought about, you can cancel your 30-year mortgage.
Bro.
Don't. The end of the world is coming, but you know what? It didn't. It hasn't happened.
Well, here's the thing, though. Okay, so this is what's hard to reconcile with evangelical Christianity and conservative Christianity. The word says, love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, with all thy strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. Those are the first two commandments. Okay? And those are the main ones that all the laws hang on, right? Okay, so if you're doing that, you're basically doing everything else. Okay? You love your neighbor as yourself. You love the Lord your God. You can't differentiate what kind of neighbor you get to love. It does not say love your cis white male neighbor. It says love your neighbor. It doesn't say don't love your Mexican neighbor. It doesn't say don't love your black neighbor. It doesn't say don't love your Muslim neighbor, your Asian neighbor. It doesn't say any of that.
I don't know who to point to.
It just says your neighbor.
I don't know who to point to and laugh at and talk about anymore.
Why should you?
Because everything is
that ain't
accepted.
Christian.
Christianity.
That ain't gonna pointing and laughing. Ain't Christian. Don't do that.
They do Christianity so they can think that they're better than everybody else. What's the whole point of being a Christian?
The whole point of being a Christian is serving God and serving his people.
Well,
it's service. It's not to point and laugh or lord your superiority over anyone. And that right there that's a flaw of traditional church.
And that's why people are scared of the church today, because of that.
They'll be judged, or they're scared they'll be shunned for not dressing the right way or wearing the right hat on Easter Sunday.
Have you seen the hole in people's jeans? Nobody's afraid. Nobody is afraid of how they're dressing. Now we got a caller on, but I
remember when you said to come as you are was going to kill the church.
Right. Now, but I got one point. And it relates to this generation. They have made pornography
that's
free.
Can I tell you something?
Pornography is free, Carmen.
I think you're the only person that really is like that into porn like that.
No, I'm saying pornography is free. Pornography belongs.
Can I tell you a secret? No.
What?
Can I tell you a secret? Naked has always been free.
No.
Yes, it has. Naked has always been free.
But
you
pornography,
can get naked by yourself, okay? And you can see whatever you want to see. Naked has always been free. Now, mind you, you go on the internet and you can, indulge all your little twisted fantasies, this, that, and the third. They ain't got nothing to do with the Lord, okay?
I'm saying.
But here's the other thing you can do on the internet. You can open a Bible. You can open a Bible on Bible Gateways. It's free too. How about that?
But I'm just saying, when people do not realize how strong this is. When they made pornography free, pornography belongs
Can I tell you a secret?
in the back room.
No, it doesn't.
With the saloon doors.
Can I tell you something?
You get 2 videos for $5. I don't know, Carmen. I've never been there. I've never seen this.
Didn't God create the human form? So like I said, all pornography has always been free. Okay, bro? So let's just take that off the table, because on the internet as well.
It's making us all psychotic. And didn't you see Chris Rock?
Wait.
Pornography
you
is
think
wrong.
Psychotic is the thing?
It's wrong, Carmen. Pornography.
Okay. And I will
you should
give
pay
that.
for it. It
What?
shouldn't be free. I shouldn't be able to go to my phone and just see.
I don't understand
see
what
this.
that has to do with.
It is
the
killing
fact
religion.
No, I
It's
don't think
bad.
that's a thing. Well, the thing about what we're talking about is the difference between following Christ and religion itself. I mean, following religion is a set of traditions, okay? Faith is something totally different. Faith and tradition are two different things, and I think you need to separate those if you really want to understand, what can keep people spiritually in tune and not necessarily dealing with the corporate church.
Wow. Okay, now we got a caller on call. You there?
Yes, I'm here.
How are
Can
you
hear me?
today?
My name is Pamela Walker.
Hi, Pam. How are you?
Hi, how are you, Carmen?
I'm doing well. I'm glad you took the time to call us today. So for the people who have not been acquainted with you, can you tell them who you are and what you've been doing?
I have been running a nonprofit. It's the Douglas High School Museum down in Kentucky. Mm-hmm. And that was dedicated to the all-black high school during that time in the 50s before they integrated, and they closed a lot of those black schools. And that's what I've been running. I've been working as well as Chrysler too.
Okay.
Now, Pam has called into the show before, of course, and we always have a lively conversation with her.
Now, I want you to jump in here. The topic is, has Jesus become a liberal hippie? And Darryl is going all off on a tangent. I need you to reel him back in. Can you speak to that?
Okay. Well, I'm going to give y'all a little background real quick.
All right.
I was attending the church faithfully, a wonderful member of the church during the times of the Great Emerge. And what I mean is the Great Emerge of the church when it became a business. And when the ATMs started popping up in those churches, and the praise dance team started looking like a step team.
Oh Lord!
And so I was there for the evolution of the church in that way, in that perspective. And so now, when you say, I heard you say, Carmen, that it's called faith. You have to separate that faith from that religion, but you really can't, because the root word of believe is lie. So then you need to go back and check the facts on what you actually believe, because all of Christianity is derived from the Catholic Church. We are all under that Roman Catholic law.
From Nicene Creed.
With that with that said, is right now, store is ran as a business. During that time when they started moving, and let's see, in the 2000 late 1990s, when they started having, they would always have like politicians come to the church, especially during the civil rights movement that my parents said. But it was more so during that civil rights era, the church was used as a gathering place for black folks. And that was used as a gathering place. However, right now, the politicians come, and most liberal politicians attend those black churches, and they try to push their agenda with voting for them. So yes, it is. They use Jesus in a way as a liberal justice.
Well, let me jump in. And this is where I want to kind of like get to as far as why is it that we're seeing a divide between what people believe from a scriptural standpoint to their social beliefs?
Because of the internet, as I'm saying.
We're not dealing with porn. Listen.
It's all related to the internet.
Listen, jump off of porn and let's go. Let's get a little deeper. So what I'd like to know from you. Hello, do we have you?
You know, she's at work. I could hear her.
Oh, we lost her. Okay, and you know what? Let's ask our guests so we can have this conversation. Okay, so we're looking at this divide. Oh, okay. Hello? Hello?
Pam, you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay, so let me
Carmen
ask
was just
you.
saying that she was wrong, but
No,
go
that's
on.
not true. That's not what happened. I want to ask you, we're seeing a divide. We're seeing a divide from what people believe socially and what they believe scripturally. Okay? So speak to that divide. Here's where the premise is. You've got the liberal Christians who are love thy neighbor, all of thy neighbor,
yes,
no matter what they look like,
right?
Okay?
Everything and
you
everyone.
love them into the kingdom, and then you've got very law-laden, Old Testament conservative Christians. Speak to us about the social / spiritual divide.
Based on it's two different things going on.
Okay.
You got more people that's maybe seeking after the truth, and they're looking for more facts. And then when you talk to religious viewpoints, I guess it's based on what you've been taught.
Okay.
What you've been taught in a particular church that you belong to. Because certain churches, you know, they preach an eye for an eye,
right?
Really. And then the other ones will go for, you know, Jesus is love. We should love everybody and do for everybody. But if you talk about from a social viewpoint, it's hard to love everybody and live and participate in American society. I mean, are you serious? If you look on the news every day and see what's going on, and if you say, okay, it's okay for you to shoot me, but it's not okay for me to shoot you. I mean, you can't. Based on how you live, and most of the young people's perspective, they're not going to have that kind of perspective. A lot of them, you know, it just depends on values, traditions. I think a lot of us, the older people, is based on tradition. I mean, they don't even know. I don't even know if they read that Bible for real, and they just only go by the scriptures that they were taught over and over again.
That's true, because I find that a lot of times there are people who will make quotes and claim it's scriptural, and it's not even in the Bible. It's just stuff they've heard over and over again in church. You know?
Okay, let me go here. When you have a wife that is adulterous, you could always go to church to straighten her out, because if I'm talking to her and it's not working, maybe the fear of God will do that. If you have a daughter that's hot in the pants, you can take her to church and put the fear of God. No one fears God anymore.
That's not true.
That's not true.
That's not true at all.
No, that's not true, Darryl.
Everybody that I know, they're living together. They're living with somebody. Nobody gets married anymore.
No, the majority of the churches, number one, now is used as a recruitment tool for homosexualism. Now,
girl,
if
you gotta-
y'all want to
okay.
talk about that,
All
if y'all
right.
want to talk about that, about
You
the
gonna go
church
there? Hold on.
and homosexuality,
Hold on,
then we
I'm
want to
not
talk
ready.
about that.
Wait a minute. Let me strap myself in my seat. Go on and tell it.
Okay, now I'm gonna tell you that, and I know what I know because everywhere you look up, the majority of the people from the piano players to
The choir
musicians,
director.
Is that right?
The ministers, they sleeping with the young kids. Now,
There was
and
a
so is the
story.
Pope. And
There-
so is the Pope and the priest too. 'Cause they just
Hold
cut off
on.
the Vatican card.
Let me jump in. There was just a story on there was a story that leaked on Facebook. A minister in New York City, a very prominent minister in New York City, he posted by accident a picture on his phone of him and his lover, a guy. He's married. This preacher is married, and he posted he uploaded on Facebook a picture of him and a guy laid up,
That's bad. I'm not going to say I never missed text.
Now-
Isn't that what it's called?
Yeah. So his parishioners have screenshotted this, and this is going all viral and all
on
types of
Instagram,
stuff.
it was a funny caption on it.
It's terrible.
How are y'all getting this stuff? I don't get this.
Now, Carmen, I could talk about that for hours, about the church is a recruiting tool for homosexuality. But I can also talk about, if you want to talk about socialism, I can talk about the church is one of the top 5 reasons that the black community is in this condition that it's in now.
So
I agree with
speak
that.
to that.
I agree with
No,
that.
I want you to speak to
You
that
want me to
because
speak to
that's
that? Let me elaborate on that.
yeah.
Okay, the majority of these pastors hit up already poor people and impoverished people for money that they know they don't have.
Huh.
And they're pimping on the pulpit. And when I've been in the church, from when the pastors didn't get paid a salary, to now they want over $100,000 to preach a free word of God. How do you want to preach? Jesus walked around on foot and in sandals, but
He
they
did.
need an airplane to get around.
And that's
so
something-
I'm sorry for.
I think
I-
that
you know,
one of the things that one of the evolutions of corporate church, with all of the trappings of greed and that kind of thing. I think that it has given people a skewed sense of what faith looks like. I come from a tradition of the old school missionary Baptist churches where, your uncle was the deacon, your granddaddy was the pastor, everybody had a little toe-up Bible, but we preached the word, we sang, and we supported one another.
And they ate chicken after the sermon in the basement of the
and,
church.
And Entman's, those what's the cake? Louisiana crunch cake. Thank
Wow.
you. But
Now, Pam, I know you're at work. When you got to go, just say, hey.
okay.
Well, okay, just fine. That's fine. So,
But
the
now-
one thing to get back on you.
Now
what
you
you're
have
saying,
now
did
you have
say,
these
Did you say they used to feed the community?
yes, and now you have
Yeah.
these mega churches. Now get this. Now you have these mega churches that want your W-2s. Now you have these mega
Yes,
churches
ma'am.
that want you to give sow a sacrificial seed of $200 and $300, this and the third, and it's become less about the giving and more about the getting on the side of like you said, just kind of pimping the community. The problem I have with that is, how do you couch the word to basically use the population? And it's really, that to me is really predatory.
But black people love Jesus. You know that. Black people have always. But the internet is making that amount less and
I
less.
don't think that's a
But
thing.
I think back to that financial.
I don't think that's the case at all. I think, like you said, you're pimping the community around you. The people are impoverished. Black people are spiritual by nature. It's not the fact that they just love Jesus. It's in our essence. It's built in our essence, being that we're first, and it's in our essence to love God. Period. Now, no matter what, it's God you serve, whether it's Muhammad, wherever, but it's in our essence.
I want to get our in-studio guest in here to jump in. Did you want to add something?
Oh, I was just speaking back to the financial point. I mean, you got to think Now, I don't think a pastor should be making millions and millions of dollars. I'm not saying that, but we got to understand, pastors nowadays are more so 24/7 employees. You got to think most people in the church expect their pastor, when they got an emergency or something going on with them in their life, they expect that when they call, they want them to answer. They don't care if it's 12, 2 o'clock. A lot of people don't think about that aspect. And you got to think when you got 500-600 members, that's a lot of people's lives to deal with. And then also, we can't confuse these mega churches with the small churches.
Correct.
Now, there are some of the small corrupt churches that don't go out into the community, but there are so many that are actually giving back in the community.
Why are there 19 churches in a black
On one
area
corner.
on one corner?
Okay.
Well, that goes back to the point that we don't know how to unify.
Unification.
I want to touch on real quick what Justice said. Let me elaborate on that. My grandfather and my uncles were all pastors and deacons, and they were available 24/7. They didn't make that kind of money. And as a United States military retiree here, a veteran, I was on call 24 hours, and I didn't make that kind of money. Now, besides that, if you talk about the mega churches and the smaller churches, they're all on every corner. You have them caught up on every corner. There is I live in Toledo, Ohio. And in Toledo, Ohio, Toledo Public School District has the highest rate of homeless children in the entire state, just that district alone.
That's true.
Now, to not feed the community and have the community around you blighted, but you have $1 million church on that corner is absolutely ridiculous. And to me, I don't go to church, and this is my own opinion and my own finances to see the way my checking and savings account is set up, that I don't go because I can't afford to go.
Wow.
Because I'd rather pay my own electric bill than to pay theirs.
Wow.
Now, and you have the
I
majority
told
of
you,
the
don't
elderly
nobody believe in
people
God
here.
no more. See,
Don't do that.
Don't nobody-
Don't
You
do
have
that.
the-
That has nothing to do. This
But you
part.
have the majority of elderly people here that cannot afford their medication, but they are in that church writing off $100 checks, giving off money, and they know that them.
But
They
what
have
about-
no clue.
you
that
have
they're
let me
being
ask
you
you
have
this.
to do that to repair what you've done the weekend with
That's
fornication.
not true. That's not true. Darryl,
And
Darryl,
adultery.
Darryl.
Everybody been fornicating from the day of time. That's how everybody got here.
Let me-
That's what I
Adam was
told my
fornicating. Adam had two
wife.
wives.
That's what I told my
Adam had
wife.
do that.
multiple wives.
You
That's
know
what I told my
you
wife.
know what? Jesus, I mean, you know what?
Everybody been
Let me-
fornicating.
let me-
And you got Cain and Abel. They were sleeping with their mom. Now, come on now.
Let me interject here. Let me interject, and I just want to reel this back in and bring it back to a
Yeah,
particular
let's
place.
bring it back.
So, what we're seeing as far as the level of engagement of the community is something very different than what we're seeing in terms of a faith body. If we're looking at and talking about Jesus Christ and the belief in Christ and how it's evolved, what is your idea or what is your view on Christ?
Well, that goes back to people generally do what works for them. And so evidently it's not working for them and they want to try something new.
Like
my
a
view of Christ is I'm no longer a Christian.
Okay.
No, I'm not. Yeah, but I grew up African Methodist Episcopal,
Okay.
and
So you're a Philistine.
Don't do that.
That was from Harlem.
what?
That's from Raging Harlem. Remember that?
I know. Don't do that. You sitting up here acting
My
up.
fault.
Darryl is acting up.
I hear him. But I studied religion for a long time. I studied religion for a long time, and then I choose to, not be a part of that.
Are you agnostic or are you an atheist?
Oh no, I'm agnostic.
Okay.
Now, I got a question, and we're going to let you go because we got to finish up the thing. But do you think that the internet has destroyed religion? Do you think
Can you say that again?
Do you think that the internet has destroyed religion?
Well, the internet did one thing, and the internet opened up a library of access to literature and information that you never had before. A lot of times, is the religion that you were growing up is something that was already picked for you, and everything you know about your religion is something that was already taught to you based on traditions from your family. And it doesn't make them wrong but it does not make them accurate.
Preach.
So,
Okay.
Preach. I heard somebody
yes.
say that.
So you are absolutely correct when you say that the internet has it opened up that informational airway for people, young people especially, and other people to access.
Pornography.
And then-
You know what? Okay, thank you so much, ma'am.
I know,
Because he
but you
keep
tell him-
going back
but
there.
What do you tell him that everything is not based on pornography?
Thank you.
Now?
You know what?
It's
Pam,
not helping.
Pam,
It's
can
not
you
helping.
tell people? Can you tell people how to reach you or how you can be found?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I am on Instagram, Pamela Walker, and I am on Facebook as well, social media. And you guys, if Jill always has my email address, I can give it to you.
Please.
JPHIL, the number 0@gmail.com.
Don't you put that up here.
Thank you so much for being on the show
I'll
tonight.
put your picture up there and you're going to be getting all kind of stuff.
You know what?
Thank you.
Thank you
you.
for sharing.
Thank you.
We
Take
so
care,
appreciate
guys.
you. Take care.
Oh, no problem. Have a great day.
All I'm saying is, I'll go here.
Okay.
He who is faithful in what is least will be faithful in what is most.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if I'm saying the bad things about the internet, least, it's like it's not. I appreciate the good things, but I'm
Okay.
saying it has done damage.
I get that. Now, I will say that one thing that I do appreciate her for saying is that it does open up a world of information. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing. I'm never the person to press or push my faith on anybody else. But I know for myself. I know that God has done too much for me, for me not to be a believer.
And I'm a believer as well. Now, a lot of people say that they're religious, that they're not religious, but they're spiritual. You know,
And that there's a fine line there because there's a lot of people that have that use the universe as their form of quote unquote God, and it's a very abstract concept that what you get put out into the universe comes back to you. That kind of worship of everything that is around you. And that to me is a dangerous place to be because, there's a lot of things that you don't necessarily want coming back. Okay.
now I had said something when we had the caller on. I was quoting something from that movie Rage in Harlem. And one thing that the lady said on there, who's the older lady from, I think she was on 227 or whatever, in that movie, she said, if Christ knew what kind of Christians he had on earth now, he would crawl back on the cross and start over again.
I'm telling you, but see, this is the thing. This is the problem that we have in the realm of the church. It's a form of religiosity. It's not true faith. True faith is that relationship between you and God through Christ, and as what I believe. It may be, for some it may be Allah, some it may be, Yahweh, however you believe. But this for me it's a personal relationship, and it's not affected by what goes on around you. Yes, you learn through the scriptures that you're taught, okay, but it's also experiential. It's also what you go through in life. It's also, like I said, when I say I know that I know that I know, I stand here by grace. I'm not here because of nothing great that Carmen did. I'm here because God said, you know what? I'm gonna spare you one more time.
And I appreciate that. Now I'm going here. I'm saying again with what is least. When they took religion out of the schools, Carmen, that wasn't a good thing. When they stopped with the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, which has nothing to do with religion.
No.
But it's structure.
Well,
you need
the
structure.
Time out. You're pledging allegiance to a flag we get into a slippery slope because that's a very nationalistic kind of thing, and nationalism is very different than patriotism. That's a whole nother show. Okay, so your allegiance, when it comes to your religious beliefs, your allegiance should first be to who and what you worship. Right? That's where your allegiance belongs.
Well, that's the whole thing about the liberal hippie, where it's like because of the confusion. Again, that is justifying.
What confuses you?
Here, you believe this a certain way. He believes it one way. I believe it another way. And what we say is, you know what? Let's just meet in the middle. Anything go.
And that goes to one of the big issues is everybody's worried about offending somebody.
Okay.
And that makes everybody sensitive versus, and I think when
Who started that? Obama.
You a lie. You a lie. Here's the problem I have with what it is that you're saying. Okay, my thing is these religions are over thousands of years old. Okay, they've existed on this earth for thousands of years. They've existed and coexisted together. Now, mind you, there have been wars fought over religion. Okay, there have been genocide over religion and things like that. We come to a place called America, and this is the problem becomes when you say, if you try to say that America is a Christian nation, okay, you're dead wrong, because there are Muslim Americans, there are Jewish Americans, there are Buddhist Americans, there are Hindu Americans, there are Americans of every stripe, okay? And to exclude them from the American experience is dead wrong.
You are in the United States of America.
And
you should be able to drive 3 color cars.
that's a lie.
Black, red, white. That's it. We have too many choices. You are in America. Worship the Jesus, the Lord that we have in America.
Do you hear yourself?
I'm saying,
Do you hear yourself?
when you go to China,
that's not
do
even
they
Christian.
do that?
sounds like a dictator.
That's not even Christian.
What's wrong with that?
That's not even. That's
You-
not even.
we have too many choices.
That's not even a product of Christ. Christ himself is a choice. Why do you think we have free will as human beings if not given by God?
Why shouldn't we have choices?
Okay, I'm saying, I like choices, but I'm saying when you have too many choices,
Then what?
it's chaos.
Why?
It's chaos.
Why?
If I call a church, they should say for Jesus, press 1. And that's it. They shouldn't say all this other stuff. This is America. Go back where you came from.
You know what?
I'm sorry.
You know what? You know what?
I'm sorry.
Can I tell you something? I'm about to thump you for real.
No,
For real.
I mean, you know, I
I'm
love
about to
it.
for real thump you.
Now we got to get out of the studio, but I'm just going to go to our in-studio guests. You are part of the millennial. What do you? I'm going to go here.
What does religion look like to you?
Yeah, what does it?
You know, for me, like I actually I had a 10-year gap in church because I actually stopped going. I grew up in my family church. It was all my family, and you know, it always was kind of like political. It's always just like kind of like when we were speaking on briefly like high school. It's always like it always had like
The cliques and all of that.
and that popularity thing. And if you don't do what these people say, they're gonna make things harder for you.
Yeah, if you don't sing Kirk Franklin, you can't join the praise team.
Exactly. It was always a little bit of something. So I was a youth leader at my church, and I was getting ready to start college. So I wanted to make sure I had my full focus on that. So I let them know, like, hey, I'm still here for you. I can support you for whatever. So because I wasn't doing what they wanted, you know, and this is my blood cousins, which was the bad thing. They slurred my name, said this and that, and I took it from a professional standpoint. I wrote a letter of resignation. Mm-hmm. So whenever I left the job, that's what I thought you would do. And I thought
Right.
the church being essentially a business,
Right.
I went through the structured process. So after that, you know, and I think a lot of people go through a similar thing where they have what you would call church hurt.
Yes.
And, you know, you leave and people are not necessarily mad at God, but the people who are supposed to be agents of God or however you want
Yeah.
to speak to them,
Okay.
they scare you away from the church.
I think
And-
there's no hurt deeper than church hurt.
Wow. Yeah.
Because it's
It's like
so
a trust.
deep.
It's like a trust thing because
Yeah.
it's like the people you were supposed to be able to be weak with, and be able to help fix your
Vulnerability,
weaknesses
yeah.
and your vulnerability. They took that open wound and stuck a knife right into
Yeah,
it.
because you know why? Because you're not wearing a T-shirt.
Oh my God.
You're not wearing a T-shirt. Oh, I come from a religion. Trust me. Oh, it's all love and everything. But if you're not wearing a T-shirt,
If you ain't walking the party line. Mm-hmm. Well, here's the thing when it
and
comes
we're going
to
to have to get out of the studio, But go on, make your point.
Oh, but briefly, like I said, it just took, like, I kept my relationship with God.
Yeah.
Now, I stepped away from the church, but I kept my relationship with God and my spirituality. But I stepped away from the building and the organization, I guess what you would call the church, because it's like, I think people think the church and your relationship with God is the same thing.
It's not.
It's not. It's two separate things.
Yep.
The church is is literally physically a building with people in it that are supposed to have the same goal of worshiping, and then taking that back out to one of the things is most churches have become businesses. So like what people like what the caller said, where she's upset because I'm paying my tithes and this and the other, but you got people starving. A lot of these churches are paying these high salaries to these pastors and not doing their original
The work
goal.
of the
It's supposed to
church.
be going out to the people. You're supposed to help the homeless. You're supposed to feed people. You're supposed to do
Exactly.
after school programs. And they're not doing that. So now you're thinking like, okay, well, what are you doing with the money? Pastors living out in Perrysburg and Maumee now, pulling up in this Benz. So like, and then they say, but I'm struggling over here. I'm eating ramen noodles.
In the scripture, Christ's mandate to Peter, when he said, upon this rock I will build my church, was feed my sheep. He said it 3 times because that was the work and the mandate of the body of Christ. He said, Peter, do you love me? Of course I do. Feed my sheep. Peter, do you love me? Yes, I do. Feed my sheep. If we as the body of Christ are not feeding the spirits, the physical needs, the basically the needs of his people, we're not the church. We're not who we're called to be.
I agree.
And that's my last little.
And my last point is, I like, we have our fun and we have an informative show, but this was our high, when we speak about religion, that was our highest video.
Yeah.
You know, what was it? Are Black People Too Religious? We got probably 1,200 views on YouTube for that show.
I'm not going to lie to you. I do.
We still get views.
I do like the idea of Jesus being a liberal hippie because I feel like he would love everybody.
I don't.
I feel like I got one last story real quick. One last story before I get out of here, and I got to say that I went to University of Toledo, and there was this guy, and I don't know what he's doing now. But he was this he had long red hair. He had like a really funky mustache and a goatee. It's kind of cool. But he would walk around. He was wearing like this robe and like, he looked like, he was wearing one of those robes and like the little belted action and the sandals and the whole hookup. And they called him Jesus at school. And he was the coolest dude. I'm like, he would just sit there and just like vibe with you or whatever. This had to be, I didn't even tell you how many years ago I was in school, but he was so fun to listen to. And we would talk about everything. We would talk about hip hop. We would talk about everything. And I don't know what happened to him.
I don't want to talk about Eminem with Jesus.
But his name was Darren. So Darren, whatever you're doing now, what's up?
Wow. Okay.
Jesus Jr.
You want to do the conclusion and we can get out of here?
Do you have your apology?
Oh, wow. You know what? Yeah, my apology is that I want to apologize to Erica for the text argument that we had this morning. She said
Did
that
you argue with her for real?
Well, I did the best that I could. She said that, I got you all hyped for the show. And we had some good points, but I don't know how many points you can make with somebody who goes to the non-denominational church.
Oh my Lord.
But,
okay, so you know what? We want to just, I do want to shout out Erica, and usually her Fitness Minute is brought to you by Giovanna Boudreau, the founder of Fit Thick Girls. Those of you who are looking for encouragement while getting fit, you should purchase some of her really cool clothing and check her out on www.fitthickgirls.com as well as on all major media sites. So, Fit Thick Girls.
Absolutely.
What do you got going on this weekend?
You know what? I don't think I got anything going on. I told my wife that I said Carmen spoke, rather stern about our relationship and that I'm not showing you enough on Facebook. So I said we're going to have 30 days
Yay!
of us
Karen!
pictures on the internet. It hasn't started yet.
When are you going to start it?
I'm not for
April,
certain.
starting April. April, I want to see Darryl and Karen every day of April on the internet.
Okay.
Every day of April.
April of next year?
2018.
Okay.
April 2018, starting April.
No, actually, we're going to do something special. I'm going to get my mom tomorrow, actually. So she's going to be here for a couple days and hang out with Karen and I and the kids. And so that's what I got going on. What do you got going on?
I will be playing the Cock and Bull on Friday night. Come out and see us 9 to 1. And I will be playing with the Overton Project featuring your girl.
You got to check her out. We got to show some kind of video. We got to do something.
It's on.
We got to do something
see the
because
show.
she is so talented.
It's never the same show twice. You got to
She
come
is
on here.
so talented. She's so talented.
What do you have going on?
Well, actually, me and a few of my partners, we're sponsoring a workshop called The Garage for youth 12 to 20 at Taylor Hyundai this Saturday.
Nice.
It's just going to give them the basics of car skills, tire pressure, fluids, all the basics you need to know.
I mean, can somebody, a little
Darryl
older come up in
Darryl
there?
is not
You can
savvy.
come by like
I don't even pump my own gas.
Are you kidding?
You can
I go
come
to a
by-
full service gas
You
station.
can come by 1 to 3 on Saturday at Taylor Hyundai on Central, and then if you're interested, we have an all ladies workshop on April 7th as well.
I'll be there.
Wow.
You can't come to that one.
See?
Thank you once again for tuning in and liking us on Facebook and on all of the major social media sites, YouTube, Stitcher. Before we go, remember, take a stand for something. You have an opinion, use it.
Good night, everybody.
We out.
Crime. Let's get it together. Education. Let's get it together. Marriage. Let's get it together. Politics. Let's get it together. Full circle. Poverty. Let's get it together. Race. Let's get it together. Full circle.